What's on Your Mind is sponsored by ACMC 339.0, New Star Radio 98.7 FM, Breakthrough Studios, and Reggae Jam.
Is it COVID? Good afternoon. How you doing? Welcome to another program in the series of What's on Your Mind. I am Carl. We say thank you for tuning in. We apologize for not being here last week, but it was one of those things. But we are here this week and we're buzzing to go. Program is produced by Breakthrough TV, and I've got a wonderful guest in the studio with me this afternoon, the wonderful Marcia Anderson. How are you, Marcia?
I'm good,
You're
good.
good.
Is it afternoon?
It is afternoon,
Is it?
yes.
Which part of the world are you, Carl?
afternoon.
It's as far as I'm concerned right now, it's evening.
It's evening.
It's a good evening, Carl.
It is evening.
And it's great to be back on the show.
It is great. I must say you're looking as beautiful as ever.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks,
I try my best
Yes,
to
it's-
patch up this whole
Yeah.
falling apart I am.
I'm sure you don't need patching up.
But you know, it's great to be back.
So how's your day been?
It's been very, very busy.
Yes.
I've had a couple of meetings, planning
Planning.
for
You're-
lots of stuff ahead.
What kind of things you been planning?
Planning a wonderful program for our Children of the Sun. Children and families
Okay.
coming ahead, planning from now to the end of the year. So we've got performances and all sorts of educational things happening.
So you're going to be pretty busy.
It's been busy, absolutely busy, you know, and but it's looking good.
Good. We can talk about
good.
that little later on. when
We
get to
can
the program.
indeed,
Yes, of course
can indeed.
we can. Let me say. I want to say a big shout to a wonderful lady who's actually been on this program. Her name is Connie Taylor. And big shout out to you, Connie. And I got to big you up because Connie Taylor. I went on the social media, and I'm sure she won't mind me saying this. I went on social media today, and she says she is cancer free. Connie Taylor had what we call lymphoma cancer, and she actually came into a studio some time ago. We've had 2 interviews with her. She came into a studio, and we had a talk with her. And she decided she wanted to tell her, the second program we did, she decided she wants to tell her story, and she wants to actually talk about what she was going through, and she wants to bring awareness of what she was actually going through, and the lymphoma cancer that she has and what she was going through. And I got to tell you, I've never heard of that cancer before, not in my entire life, until I actually met her, until we actually had this interview with her. And it was a wonderful interview. She was a brave lady, and she is a brave lady. I said she is a brave lady. And the thing I tuned into today on her social media, she says to me, she didn't say to me, she says to her daughter, she said she went home and she tell her daughter that she is cancer free, and she was so happy. You know what I mean? And I must say, big shout out to you once again, to Sister Connie Taylor. All the best, big congratulations, and you know we love you, so big shout out to you. Let's go for the clap, guys.
Congratulations, Connie.
Thank you, Connie.
Congratulations, that's
Marvelous.
great news.
So I told you it was going to happen, and I know you'll be back to tell us your story, and how far, your achievements, and how strong you have been to going through such a thing after all the therapy that you'll have had to have, you know what I mean? So let me say once again, big shout out to you. And it was a pleasure actually talking to you in our studio. And also, we talk on radio, you know what I mean? And I remember when we talk on radio, she was telling us her story as well. And we actually both, you know, we actually both was actually full with tears. You know, I mean, it's not funny, but she was actually telling a story, you know what I mean? Both of us, I was filled with tears and she was filled with tears, you know what I mean? It was actually one of those moments, you know what I mean? I say, it's one of those things, you know what I mean? I say, we say very, very big shout out to you. Absolutely fantastic. Don't forget, you can find us also on Facebook. So let me say big shout out to all you guys who's tuned into the program on Facebook, yeah? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the program. I got to give you the health warning. It's one of those ones. So, as you know, I always look at things that is happening around the world from my point of view. You know, the way I see it. You know, I mean, the big stories, a lot of big stories be going on. But I got to say before I go into my big story, I'm trying to get relaxed. I am relaxed, but I'm really hyped up. I'm feeling really good. I got to say, one of the big stories, and I'm going to ask you about this, is the pound. The pound It's hits.
Diving deep.
What is going on in the
Oh
UK?
gosh, it was all predicted though. You
was
know,
all predicted.
those who watch the markets and
Yes.
from like 2 years back and
Yes,
so
we've
on,
done that for a long
people have
time.
been saying this. We're gonna have a very bad.
It's gone very stupid. And everything's gone stupid. And the people I actually feel for, the young people who's got
Yeah.
mortgages, are to have to mortgage, and the interest rate has gone stupid.
It's ridiculous.
And-
It's ridiculous. The squeeze is just tighter and tighter in every aspect of our lives. We're being squeezed.
Yeah.
You know, we
And-
just
And also the energy bills, you know what I mean?
all of that.
I look on social media a couple of days ago, and some people were saying, "Oh, I can't afford to put my heating on." Some people, and they was making like a big joke of it, which you would see the funny side of it. Some people was actually saying, well, basically, some of us, we're not going to put our heating on till December."
Oh gosh, it's a good job. It's a mild,
It is
mild so far, but I heard it's going to be very tough this
Yes,
winter,
yes,
weather-wise.
Yes.
As
And,
it's common talk now. People are saying they've got to choose between
Food.
heating or eating.
food.
Well, you know,
It is.
2022 in Britain,
You know,
you got food banks. It's
I-
like back in the day when you had poor houses. You know, every corner you've got a food bank.
Yes, in times like this.
you
And
know.
the thing about it as well, in a time like now, we see so many people struggling.
Yeah.
And I'm not knocking anybody. I'm not just going to know somebody say, "Oh, that party's going to do different or this party's going to do different."
yeah.
But the Conservative Party have been in power for, I think it's 12 years.
Mm.
And you remember all that time, we have to cut down. We have to, we have to draw back. We have to save this. We have to save that. We have to do all this sort of thing.
Yeah.
Look where we are now. What was it? And I asked the
Exactly.
question, what was it all about?
I know.
You know what I mean?
But we do understand what the parties are all about. We do understand whose interests the Conservatives are always about
Yes.
preserving.
Preserve it.
So, you know, this is, if you're voting, think twice next time, I think. You convert to Conservative fans out there, but this is not that sort of
Well,
show.
let me ask you, because I know you're,
This is not that kind of
I know you're a
program.
Nubian historian. So what do you think about the new Chancellor?
The new Chancellor, you know, they're picking on him quite a bit. He's inherited
Well,
all
he's
this.
got to expect that, isn't
He's
he?
inherited all this. It's not his fault, and
Yeah.
it's not because he's a black man.
No.
They're trying to make out that,
Yes.
you see now.
Yes.
You see,
Yes.
he's got a lot of pressure on,
He's got a lot of pressure on
especially
him.
because he's a black man. But it's good to see we're getting closer and closer. But I don't know much about his mentality yet. I'm not sort of... But it's good to see representation
You know,
on that level.
and you're right there, because what changed? I mean, I remember doing, I think about in program 60, probably about 67 or 68, and my reference to it was, I can't see a person of color that's high up, or even prime minister of the country. But you see how quick politics
It's
change
getting
around.
close.
Quick goes around.
There's a black candidate, wasn't there? A lady. What was her name? It's like only the other day, but I've forgotten her name now.
I know.
She was very close, wasn't she?
Very, very close. But as I said, politics is a situation that can always change around.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Well, I must say to you guys as well, go and check the program out. I was talking about Connie Taylor earlier on. Go and check the program out in week 63. You know what I mean? You'll see where actually Connie Taylor was in the studio. That's week 63, and she actually was telling her story. It's a wonderful story she was telling. Now, let me move on. As you know, Russia State TV has told their viewers nuclear war is likely. It's even more likely if Russia is pushed into a corner by the West. Yes. They say Putin may do it. And he may use nuclear weapons. And the President Biden has actually sent a strong message, a secret message actually, to Putin. So we see what happens. And that is getting a little bit too close for comfort. And I know a lot of us walk around and say, whoops, it can't happen. But we're living in strange times, you know what I mean? And I know people say, oh, if Putin do anything, the whole of Russia would be smashed. But Russia's got a lot of weapons as well. And we don't know what they've got, you know what I mean? And they say, and I've heard people talk about survival. The trouble is, nobody will survive a nuclear war. And even if you survive, where the hell are you going to get your food from? Because it would be all destroyed anyway. Points to take into consideration. Now let me move on. It comes to London. Hundreds of protests about Chris Kebab. After police shot him in London. And this has been going on for a while. I mean, there's been protested about. But the main thing I want to pick up on, which was sort of come to up to date, Chris Campbell cousin has says, there wasn't all there protesting for Chris. They was protesting about the system. And that's what is important about that. And it doesn't matter whether it be Chris or somebody else or anybody else, it's the system that actually needs changing. And I thought that was actually a very, very good part. The police watchdog has also said race may be a factor in what's happening. They're investigating if race is a factor. Must hold this as well, must hold this story, because talking about the police, PC Elaine Smith has been found not guilty. PC Elaine Smith was actually a PC who was actually hit 3 times with her button. Dalian Atkinson. Daniel Atkinson was actually tasered. And while he was tasered, she hit him 3 times with her button. And she was up in court on assault. However, a juror has actually take about 3 hours and 2 minutes to found her not guilty of assaulting Dalian Atkinson. And the other thing she actually said, she said she was very fearful, and she was very fearful, and she was very literally, she not words to the effect that she was very fearful and she was very frightened. Well, if a guy has been tasered so many times and he was down, why do you feel he was fearful? He couldn't get up again if he's been tasered. You know what I mean? So why was you fearful? You know what I mean? You have to go and hit him 3 times with a baton after he was tasered. So I don't really work that one out, but you know what I mean? That's what she says there. You know what I mean? I don't know if you're up on this story.
Yes, I have been following both stories, and the system has to change. It's not going to change without the campaigns, the pressure put on to the system, and the awareness being raised. And we have to start recognising this is racism at its worst. Mm-hmm. You know, you have racist officers, and they have a field day. They go wild on our people. You know, we can't say, I mean, often we say, how can you prove it's racism? But look at the statistics. Yeah. Look at the circumstances. Mm. You know, I've seen others treated with kit and gloves compared to the way, even our youngsters. I mean, the number of children being stopped on the street as young as 13, 12 and so on, and manhandled.
And we see it all the time.
Too many times.
Yeah.
You know, but when it reaches this stage and we see the murders, it's murder we're talking about. Mm-hmm. It hurts when you see people get off. Criminal. You know, it's criminal.
It is criminal.
It's terrible to know, in my heart, to know that someone's been murdered in such a way. Yeah. And right in front of us, they let scot-free, let off like that, and we feel powerless anyway, but we're not talking about it enough. I think we have our little rants and our little moans, but we're not getting together. Yeah. Coming together and proactively we react when these things happen. Yes. We react, we protest. Yes. It dies down. It happens again. We react. We cry. We protest. Down. We see the pictures. Mums are always crying. It's unfortunately. We don't see enough fathers, you know, but that's another story. We're always seeing the mums getting together and the mums crying. We need the men. Great, the men are out there as well, but we need to see more of that, because I do believe the men have a role in protecting the community and being present, supporting. I know a lot are going to hate me for saying that, you know. But
I tell you, but I got to say, though, I have seen a lot of men in these protests. Even when what's his name? There's a man that actually was killed a couple of weeks ago, not too far from here. You know what I mean? And there was all at Lighthouse. Yeah. There was quite a few men in that particular protest. You know what I mean? So it's
protesting, but we need the work that goes into this beforehand, in terms of sitting at that table together and ensuring that this doesn't happen again. You know, proactively. Yeah. Setting up those structures to call.
Well, I think one of the things is that actually we probably then need to come together more then.
Yes.
And then, because a lot of us got different issues with each other.
Oh, gosh.
And until we put that aside, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like when I was broadcasting a couple of weeks ago, I was talking about, and it says, if you watch one of my programs, I said, we always on each other. And I went like this.
Yeah.
You remember the program? I says,
do,
I
we
says,
do.
if we need to,
I know.
you know what I mean?
We're always
and
on
if you,
it.
and if you don't know what that means,
I know what you mean. We're on it to be quick to attack. We have to
Yes.
realise, though, we shouldn't be on each other because we're all in this
together.
together.
Yes.
This
But we,
that we're in, we're all in it together,
Yes.
and none of us are going to escape
No,
these,
but
right?
we are-
We're talking about things happening in Russia. We're talking about the economic situation, the brutality. It's not a good time for us, you know. We always come out worse.
That's right.
And we can't
no, because we are
do
always,
anything if we're apart. So this is a time, if we don't recognise our backs are against the wall and we need each other as a community, we need to stop the little petty nonsense that often holds us back and stops us from galvanising as a strong force to survive this. Because we are now dealing with our survival, you know. This is serious.
and one of the main thing, you know, one of the main thing that I think we actually overlook, men
Yes.
are always getting killed. It's our men that's always
Yeah.
getting killed.
Men are definitely,
Getting killed.
from the beginning of
Yes, it's our men that's
these
always
systems,
getting killed.
because men are seen as the biggest threat
Yes.
to it all,
Yes.
aren't they?
Yeah.
You know, so our men, as I love our men, and the strong physically, strong mentally, emotionally. I can't say enough in terms of how much I love our men, and it hurts me to see
When that happens.
time and time and time. There are a lot of women being murdered as well, and brutalised and crippled as well in the system, you know. But we don't often see that. Their stories aren't always
That's right.
told.
Yes, yeah, that
You
is
know,
true.
there
That's
is a
right.
lot of brutality that takes place. A lot of women in prison might be found, it might say they've committed suicide or things have happened to them. And there's a lot of cover-up when it comes
of
to
course,
the numbers of women that are actually
Yes, of course. Totally.
murdered as well. But there is an attack on our men.
Totally.
And it's no different to when men were being lynched. And yeah, I won't go that deep, but anyway, it's it's not that kind of a show. But every time I hear this, it just reminds me it's like another man, another one's been lynched. You know what I mean? A lynching is not just a hanging off a tree.
I gotta
There
move
are
on.
lots of different ways of lynching.
No, I gotta move on.
But yeah,
I know.
let's do that.
We need a whole lot.
Let's
For that,
do
we need a
that.
whole different program. And we need a whole big debate.
Yes.
You know what I mean? For that you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Yeah. Let me move on. Now, there have been a large number of people involved in disturbance in Leicester East. And this actually started from about August. And the mainly Asian, between Hindu and Muslim, there have been strange fights. And there's been a whole lot of things been going on over the last couple of weeks. It actually started over a cricket match. It is alleged. And the community leaders actually has asked for calm, you know what I mean? It seems a little bit calmer now, but you know what I mean? You don't know when it's going to actually break out again, you know what I mean? So it's one of those ones that is happening in Leicester, yeah? Now, my next story is like, police are actually searching for that lady and another person. And they were allegedly racially abusing a mother and her children at a train station in London. Actually, at a train station in Tottenham, which is London. And so police is actually looking for them and investigating that case more and hoping somebody will actually spot those people and find who they are. Yeah. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the program. Let me move on to my next story. Now, I am scared to do my job. Hundreds of taxi drivers across the West Midlands, which is the part of the region that we are actually in. And they are scared of doing their job. They have been beaten, they have been robbed, there have been attacks in a series of attacks. And this has been happening over the years. And between January 2018 and March 21, there were 901 people that was actually attacked in their taxis. Data from the West Midland Police data has actually showed this. And Jamal Bashar was attacked in Warwick Road in Apex Green a couple of weeks ago. And he says he's terrified of doing his job, you know what I mean? So It's one of those serious ones again when you see that happens, you know what I mean? I mean, once you would think about it, if you was a young guy coming up, you think, oh, I'd like to be a taxi driver. And you think, yes, I'd like to be a taxi driver, it'd be good. But now, you think, no, I don't want to be a taxi driver because so many of them get so attacked over the years, which is absolutely disgusting, yeah. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Let me move on to my next story. In Jamaica, now the sentencing of Cocoa Peace mass murderer, Rushane Barnett, has been delayed until the 20th of October. He's convicted in July of 5 counts of murder. He killed a lady and her 4 children. And they were talking about the death penalty, but he's not going to get the death penalty, so that's going to happen. I mean, I don't have any qualms on the death penalty. I always believe, and some of you may not like what I have to say here, but I always believe nobody has the right to take another person's life. Somebody says to me, what if you did it to your family, Carl? I don't know. But I've always carried the attitude that nobody has the right to kill anybody else, yeah? Yeah. Also staying with Jamaica, 3 has been killed in Jamaica. 9 were injured in St. Catherine. This is also another shooting in Jamaica. Before I go into that story, and this happened in Springs Village. And they say it is alleged this actually took place at a football match in the community. And they say 3 people has actually been killed, and 9 has been shot. And this is as I say, I don't know what's going on at whether a football match or a cricket match, but we talk about the one at the cricket match. Now we are at football match, yeah. So don't know what is going on there. Now my next story is Ian. Now Ian started as a tropical storm, and it actually turns out to be a hurricane. It has smashed parts of Jamaica, parts of the Caribbean. I mean, places like St. Thomas. St. Thomas has lost a part of the road. And the community actually hitting out very heavy because you can't even get a car. Part of St. Thomas is actually cut off. You can't get a car on the road there. And the people, it's just a small path where people are trying to walk now. And the residents are saying the Jamaican government need to fix up. They need to do something about this road because these roads has been terrible for many, many years. And also Kingston was actually flooded. Place like St. Catherine as well was also had big flooding water, you know what I mean? So as I say, it's one of those ones, and it says this is all caused by Hurricane Ian. But don't forget, Ian was also very the forerunner for Fiona, and Fiona did a lot of damage as well, and it actually ended up in Canada. You know what I mean? So, and if you look at the latest picture we have, is some pictures from literally Florida. Florida is actually full of water. So, but it's the hurricane season. You know what I mean? So, it's one of them ones, and we keep wondering: is this causing by what you call it, climate change? Yeah, don't know, not quite sure. I've always believed, my personal view, yes, man has damaged the earth a lot, but I've always believed that the earth is always changing. You know what I mean? As I said, I know man has done some disgusting things to the earth and pollute the earth and do different things, so the earth will actually feed back. And but I've always believed the earth is always changing. I take the classic one is what I always call the you remember the ash cloud. Remember the ash cloud so many years ago when you couldn't get planes up or anything was going up. And I always wrote that out, and I've looked at a lot of studies. It was just the Atlantic creating. The Atlantic still going up. The Atlantic hasn't stopped. So it was just going up north, and all the thing that was coming out of the earth was actually causing this, to call all this smoke. Talk to me.
True. We need to learn to live with the environment. We need to learn to live with nature. There would have been a time where people would know where to put their houses.
Yes.
You wouldn't build your house.
That's what
you know what I mean?
Building the flood plains. That's what we all do now. Everybody builds in the flood plains now.
Yeah. And it is because of economic reasons. People have to live somewhere.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and I'm into land redistribution, you know. I don't believe that some people should hold on to the best land
But they do.
and build on that while other people have to be living, literally building on swamp land. Do you know what I mean? It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So it's always going to happen.
Yeah,
it's
well,
always going to happen.
As I said, they're living in the flood plains.
Yeah.
I mean, as I get older, when I was younger, I see some beautiful rivers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was some beautiful rivers. And when I was younger, I was thinking, oh, I'd love to live next to that. But
Yes.
as you get older, you think, no, if there's a flood, you drown, everything you wipe out.
I
I
know.
mean, it's like I remember we went to a relative's house in the Caribbean, in the north coast of the Caribbean, and we went there, and my days, his lawn is like when the tide is in his lawn, you sit on the beach and you just dive into the Caribbean. Ooh. Beautiful, house is fantastic. When the tide goes out,
Oh no.
it's like a mountain. You look down there.
Yeah.
The other thing is, you think if there's a hurricane,
That's it.
or there's your
Yeah.
that's it. So
Yeah.
I thought, no,
I know.
I'm not gonna have that. You know what I mean? So it's just one of those ones. You know what I
Even
mean?
here, even in the UK, there's some beautiful
Well,
places.
Stratford is beautiful.
Yeah.
If you ever see Stratford, from
I
the closest
love
place to
it.
here, you know what I mean?
love
If you ever
it.
think Stratford is beautiful.
Yeah, it
This is a
is.
plug. This is a plug for the holiday
Yeah.
people. Stratford is actually beautiful.
It is.
But,
I love it.
But when you think about it, it has been flooded many times.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Even places like Cheltenham and places like that. You know what I mean? They're nice places, but when they flood,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And those places are already getting
You're
flooded.
seeing
you
it
know what I mean?
every year. People are having to evacuate their
Yes.
properties
Yes.
and being brought out by the police on a raft and all sorts.
Yeah.
You know, they used to say that was how third world countries
That's right.
operated, but now you watch some of those images.
And you think, no,
You know, people are.
I don't want to live there. No, definitely not.
You know.
Let me move on to
Yeah.
sports. Now, the Reggae Boys actually played Argentina. And this is actually a warm-up for Argentina, because Argentina is going to the Qatar World Cup in 2023. So this is actually a warm-up for the Reggae Boys. I'm afraid the Reggae Boys didn't qualify, but they was doing a warm-up with Argentina. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, they've lost. But it was still a good warm-up for them. I think Messi actually scored 2 goals. You know what I mean? So it's one of them ones. Yeah. Big shout out to the Reggae Boys, because you would have gained some experience from the Argentinian team. You know what I mean? And it's good to see that you can actually play together. So that is actually marvelous. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Now let me move on to entertainment. Now, Steph London. I gotta say, I do like Steph London. Some of you guys may say, what? I do like Steph London. I don't know why, but I do like Steph London. Steph London, Jamaica dancehall rapper. You know what I mean? She was actually growing up with Burna Boy for quite some time now, and she hasn't talked about it. I think they finished just over a year, and she hasn't talked about it. But she finally came out and said, you know what I mean, it's time to move on. And one of the things she actually said, she's called Burna Boy out for saying liar. Yes, because in Burna Boy last song, which goes lie, lie, you know what I mean? No, it's last, I should say, not lie. I got lying confused. He said last. She's calling him out to say he's lying, you know what I mean, in that song. If you ever listen to that tune, you'll see exactly what I mean. And she actually says she will never, ever goes out with another artist. So I've got no chance. Big shout out to you. And she also says it's time to move on. So big shout out to you, Steph London. I think she actually lived in Birmingham many years ago. In fact, she's one of the biggest stars that actually comes out of Birmingham. Yeah. Yes, don't forget, as I say, to like, share, and subscribe. Steph London was born in the UK. I should also say that. Now, move on to Coffee and Shenseea. Now, Coffee and Shenseea has both landed a soundtrack. They both landed on the soundtrack for FIFA 2023. And as I say, there's about 100 songs on this album that is coming out from different artists across the world. And I say Coffee Pull Up song is on it. I've played Pull Up quite a few times. And also Run from Shenseea is also on the cut. So that is actually set to come out. And it's actually due to release on September the 30th. Yeah. We're in September now, aren't we? We're almost finished September.
2 more days and it's October.
October.
Yes.
As I say. Now, the wonderful lady is all set. Rihanna is all set to do the halftime performance at the 2023 Super Bowl. And she actually said she has been working on a new album. And I got to tell you something about Rihanna. 2023, I should say. I got to tell you something about Rihanna. Rihanna is she says she's actually concentrating on music, and she's concentrating on bringing out a new album. The other thing is about where that is concerned. I actually think that is actually true because her website it's like they're taking everything down off her website. So her website is actually, when they do that, they're actually upgrading it. So they're actually upgrading it with new music and all the rest of it. So as I say, her website is actually down. So that is also interesting to see what music she's going to come out with. I do like a lot of Rihanna's tunes, actually, even though sometimes I says, why you just like that woman when you was pregnant? But he's one of those ones. Let me move on to our next story, which is still entertainment. Now, Lizzo has actually starts her tour, and she done her first tour in Florida, and she's actually set up a lot of dates to continue with those wonderful shows. And I says she looks like she's having a lot of fun there. You know what I mean? So it's one of them ones. She got some really catchy tunes, I must say as well. My final entertainment story is Beanie Man. Beanie Man show was actually cancelled in London last Thursday. I mean, I think there was actually visa issues, so his show was cancelled, and he won't be back until the 22nd of November. And he came on social media to actually apologize. You know what I mean? So we see the dancehall king. Is he still the dancehall king? Yes, I think he's still the dancehall king. How the dancehall king gets on there. Yeah, as I say. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. My rant comes in. My time is going quickly, so I have to do my rant. Now, my rant concern a Jamaican blogger. Yes, and I gotta say, he's been on YouTube, and he's been on a lot of stuff. He's done a lot of stuff over the years, you know what I mean? And his name is actually Lee Gates. Now, Lee Gates has done very, very good work, and he's very popular. And he was actually, I came up wearing this. He was actually talk about some things that was happening in Jamaica, and I think he was actually talking about a taxi driver who was actually killed. And he was saying, what is going on? How them can be doing this? You know what I mean? What is going on? What's going on? What is going on? And no sooner or later, he said that he was actually killed. And I said, 2 persons has actually been killed. So it doesn't matter what you're doing, even if you're on the same night. 2 persons was actually killed on the same night. And it doesn't matter what you're doing in this business or whatever you try to do in this business. You always have to be so careful. Look out where you're going. You know what I mean? Maybe he got a little bit careless, and I don't want to disrespect the family in any way. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people is not going to like what you're doing. The police says, the Jamaican superintendent who investigated the case, or who's the head of the case, he actually said he was in the wrong place at the wrong time. You know what I mean? But that may also part of it. But the other thing may be also part of it is the fact that he was actually saying, you know what I mean, the taxi driver who got killed, you know what I mean, somebody actually pretend there was a passenger, go with the taxi and shoots up the taxi driver. And he was actually saying, what is going on? How come this thing are gone? You know what I mean? We can't believe this. God must be coming or something. You know what I mean? That's what his comment. And before you know that, he is killed. So as I say, no matter what happens, you know what I mean, you have to sort of be careful whatever you're doing. And I don't know if he had enough security, you know what I mean, or whatever was going. You can't just go anywhere these days, you know what I mean. So you have to be careful. And I think as I said, the superintendent where this actually happens has been saying that there seems to be a lot of trouble in this area as well, you know what I mean. And as I said, they killed him like the same night that he was actually talking about the rest of murders that is actually going on, and you know what I mean. And he was criticizing the rest of murder that was actually going on. And we want to say big condolence to his family, you know what I mean, and his friends and all that. So all these people around him, you know, man, his fans, and all his fans on social media and YouTube bloggers, you know what I mean. We want to say big condolence to him. And when that sort of thing is happening, you just don't, you know what I mean, you just don't know what is going on. Marcia, what do you think about that?
Shocking, it really is. Condolences to his family and friends and to the community. That's it's just becoming more and more outrageous.
It is, isn't it?
It is indeed. It's very sad. Lovely man, from what I've been hearing.
yeah.
Absolutely wonderful, man. And so it's sad news.
Yeah, sad. Yeah, as I said, we condolence to his family,
Yeah, may he
friends.
rest in peace.
Now, my next story's got a little bit of sense of humour in it. Now, Q jumpers. I've got to be quick this because I'm running out of time. Q jumpers. Now, Q gate. All about a queue. Now, do you know what a queue is? Now, I got to tell you, the first time I learned what a queue was is when I went to a bank in Jamaica. I went to a bank back in Jamaica with my uptown. We went uptown, man. Went uptown to a bank in Jamaica, and away from we was queuing, and we was waiting at the bank for ages in this queue. You know what I mean? So that was the first time I actually realized what a queue was. Before that, even when I was going to school, it was always a line. Get in the line. Don't come out of the line. Get back in the line. Before we actually say queue. But my thing about this is that my thing in this is what I'm actually ranting about is when you say things or when you do things, it's come back to you. Now, Holly, Philip Schofield and Holly, the girl that actually presented the program with him, and this morning. Now, Philip Schofield was away for some time, and he come back onto the TV station. And the first thing he comes onto this TV station, the first person he had a go at was Meghan, the Sussex. In fact, his very own words, if you go back to the 3rd of September, yes, I got this right, I got this to a T. If you go back to the 3rd of September, he goes, Meghan and Harry should shut up. Yes, that was his reaction. Now, it is alleged when him and Holly was actually going to see at Westminster Hall, you know what I mean, the coffin for the Queen, they actually jumped the queue, right? So he's now made big news. As I said, I'm not interested in their program. I never watched their program. So he's now made big news. Before that, Meghan was always making the big news, and Harry, I dare say they're still making news. But before that, well, everybody has turned on them now. Most people on social media has turned on them. They say they should be sacked. They should be they should be sacked. They should leave the job. They should get off the television. But you see what happens sometimes when you say things, and he could never dream in a million years, none of them, when they was actually presenting that program, that this would ever turn around on them so much. They've actually become the big publicity. They're all over the paper, and people have criticized them, saying they was jumping the queue because that's the queue to see the queue to see the Queen's coffin was lined up for ages. People have to wait and wait. They had, it's alleged they actually have a queue pass. Well, I don't care about the queue pass or what them have or what them don't have. I go back to my point. My point is where they actually, first thing they come and land, they was actually having a go, what you call having a dig at Meghan and Harry. The first program they actually, because everybody's on the bandwagon of having a go at Meghan and Harry. They come back on the start of the program. They said Meghan and Harry should shut up. And I say he could never dream in a million years that he and the young lady who actually presented the program with him would be on center page. And they get so much abuse and so much hate mail. One Labour MP has actually said she is worried about them getting so much abuse. Now, this Labour MP never come out and says she is worried about the Sussex, yes, getting so much abuse. Point taken.
Oh gosh, they need to leave Meghan alone.
I know.
Don't they? What really has she done?
I know.
You know.
I
Well,
know.
serve Mr. Schofield.
I think we know. You know, we know what's going on.
We do indeed.
We all know what's going on.
Indeed.
Talk to Mama Asia. You're up.
I've never heard Philip say anything about Andrew. Have you?
No.
You know,
No.
but Meghan's an
always
easy
Meghan, easy. And everybody's on her case. Everybody. I mean, why don't they talk about how she's, you know what I mean, what about going on her health, or what she's going through, you know what I mean, how it's affecting her so badly, or even Harry, how he's actually so badly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm surprised they don't blame her for Lizzie's
Well, some of them,
passing.
I've seen that. I've seen that as well. I actually seen that on social media. Some people say, "Oh, she was responsible for the Queen dead." The Queen was 96.
Yeah,
you know what
exactly.
I mean? Her time was closing anyway. You know, when you get old, she's past us 3 scores. No disrespect, she's past us 3 scores and 10.
Yeah.
Hasn't she?
Well, I've heard a few lovers of the Queen. Back when Meghan and Harry did their interview with Oprah, say, mine, don't kill her off, mine, don't kill her. And do you know what I mean? They were worried back then. So, yeah.
And I say,
They got to do their thing and flee the toxicity, and everyone has to do what's right for them.
and they get a lot of toxic from the people that we know what they're all about. You know what I mean? We know
You
what
can see why they couldn't stay.
Yeah, you could see. You could actually see that.
Yeah.
You got more things you want to tell us about?
What have I got to talk about today? I was enjoying that, actually. I could sit here forever listening to... I don't watch much news anymore, so I tune into you to find out, to get my weekly updates.
And you enjoy it?
Yes, I enjoyed that a lot.
Good.
Some sad news, but some...
It's a mixture, isn't it?
It's a good mixture, yeah. Let's just hope some of these issues that you raised today get sorted and we take control of taking these matters in our hands, you know. In terms of what's on my mind, something's come to light in terms of what's happening with young people in Birmingham.
Yeah.
We've had all this pressure, COVID and financial issues, social media, a lot of children being locked into their social medias, the crimes on the street and so on. What's happened now is I'm having some direction from here. Oh, it's being fixed up here. I can't see myself on the camera. Let me start again. Birmingham has seen a massive, massive spike in the suicide rate of young people.
Yes.
Nobody's talking about it. Massive spike in the rate of children of colour, African Caribbean children, young, under the age of 18, taking their lives. The spike is like this.
Young people.
But
I actually see, did I talk about it last week or the week before?
Oh, did you?
The week before, yeah. I actually mentioned that, yeah.
It's very, very concerning. Very concerning. And how are we working to address that? How are we supporting each other? How are we supporting the families? How are we interacting with our young people to prevent this? Because they're obviously unable to come to us when they're experiencing trauma. Sometimes children are taking their lives for everyday issues. Basically, when I say everyday issues, it's not an everyday issue to them. But if they were to talk to a trusted adult, they could be guided through those issues. But their first port of call is social media. And social media, it's terrible for the mental health of young children. Firstly, excuse me, I do have a little cough. It's an autumn thing. Yeah. Firstly, they become addicted to social media. Then they stop listening to families and adults. It's all about what their peers are saying. Their peers are also ill-informed, naive, bad-minded as well. Sometimes, it's about that attack of each other and wanting to see each other struggle, basically. They're not supporting each other. So there's a lot of bullying that takes place on social media. And a lot of children are isolated in their rooms. They're not even going home and having meals with the family again, So they're isolated. They're taking in all this toxic stuff on social media. I've got a 14-year-old daughter, and sometimes I have a look at what I see.
And you have to do that. I think you have to do that. And I think possibly a lot of our parents is not doing that enough. You know what I mean? A lot of our parents is not doing
because
we sort of give up our responsibility because we're working here, there, and everywhere, chasing, and we sort of forget about our children. And we're not taking responsibility.
And young people will make you feel as if you're intruding.
That's
and,
right.
You're taking away their right to privacy. But sometimes you have to say, listen, no laptop in your bedroom. If you're going to be on that laptop, it's in the living room, it's in our presence. Do you know what I mean? No shutting yourself away for not just 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. Some children, as soon as they get home at 4 o'clock, they don't leave their bedroom till 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. They've been on social media for 6 hours. And I know of this. I know many, many children, many families dealing with this issue. It's almost commonplace now that children disappear for 6-7 hours after school. They even take their food up into the bedroom and they've gone, that's it. And
So-
if you've got more than one child in a family, each individual child they're not interacting with each other. They've got their own social medias, their own stuff that they're on. So that bond, that unity
Gone.
is, yeah.
So what we actually do, we allow the government, I always say this, we allow the government and social media to grow our children.
Yes. And they're not growing the children.
No,
They're killing the children.
they're killing the children.
There's no growth. No growth at all. But it's a serious problem. And as I work with young people, I'm very aware of the issues. And there's a lot of self-harming. There's a lot of trauma that children aren't taught to deal with. You know, and I think as a community we need to look at how we can get together, because schools can't do it.
No.
The mental health service, child mental health service, they've got a backlog.
Yeah.
They haven't got the resources to deal with the number of
right, that's
children. And often, you know, they just haven't got, shall I say it, the cultural, when I'm talking about our children especially, you need to have that cultural sensitivity as well and that cultural understanding, and often that's missing. So it's a massive problem.
It's a massive problem.
We're talking about the Queen. We're talking about all of us stuff, lots of distractions going on out there, and the figures are terrible. Every week, the number of children that aren't just attempting suicide,
This is a big problem.
they've had many attempts before they've actually gone through. You know, often they're not listened to because people dismiss them and say they're being extra, they're attention seeking. But we need to recognise it's a serious cry for help. You know.
And you know, that's fantastic, and I'm glad you picked it up. As I said, I did talk about this a couple of weeks ago. And what's important about this is, like, this is what we say, we always invite people to come and talk about this.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, it doesn't get highlighted or it doesn't know. Nobody knows, you know what I mean? How can we actually help the kids from our community? How can we do this? How can we help the kids from our community?
I think there are just so many levels that we can approach this on. I think we just need to set up as many support networks and organisations for families. It doesn't always start with the child. You know, taking a holistic approach, you have to look at the whole family, but not just the family, the whole community. I think if a child is committing suicide, that whole community is in that state. You know what I mean? The community needs healing, the community needs supporting. So, but yeah, starting with the family, what support structures are they that we've put in place to support families? You know what I mean? Because we're talking about, think about a sort of 35-year-old mother with a 15-year-old. She's got to work. She's maybe had 2 or 3 children. She's often on her own. Yeah? And I don't want to feed into those stereotypes. I'm just sharing the truth of what I'm seeing anyway. And yes, I know there are many happy, loved-up couples and husbands and wives out there, but I'm talking about the problems that we're looking at tackling. Do you know what I mean? And so yeah, how do we support families? I'm into supporting families and children, but I suppose my direct focus is with children. So I try to bring on board members of the community with various skills, from self-defence, self-love experts, counsellors, teachers, to work with us, drama therapists, all sorts of people. We've just had a wonderful summer where we've invited so many people to come in, speak with our children, deliver workshops. But also it's about getting children to talk about their experiences. Often we think we've got to be talking at children, sharing our experiences, but we don't want to hear about their experiences. We want to laugh about their experiences.
That's right.
If a child says, I'm worried about what my friend is saying about my zits or something, we'll laugh. You know what I mean? You're worried, they're worrying about the zits.
Yes, I know,
when I was a child, I had to go market with a trolley. I had to go feed the goats. I had to do this. I had to do that. We always want to talk about how hard we had it.
Yeah, it's like, that is a classic, you know, because like, it's like, oh, I'm worried about what dress I'm worried about what dress I'm gonna get today. I'm worried about
I know.
you know what? You know those
Yeah,
ones,
yeah,
oh
yeah,
my dear. Oh, I'm worried about what dress I'm gonna wear.
yeah,
Oh, my hair. I'm worried about my hair. I'm not gonna get into the
yeah.
hair thing, but you know what I mean. It's so not a worry, isn't it?
It is. It wasn't in our day, but
No.
with social media now, everything is magnified. Children, the glare is on every minute. So what would seem like, why is my child so worried about these little zits? Is what that zit represents. That zit on the face might mean she's teased. The boys are teasing her. People are calling her nasty, or him. You know, he or she's ostracised.
That's right.
Their self-esteem has plummeted. Body dysmorphia plays a large part.
That's right.
Because they're trying to live up to these unrealistic standards that are set by those on the TikToks and the other social medias. But because their mental health, they're mentally now in a weakened position, they no longer have the resilience and the inner resources to deal with what we would see as basic problems that appear in her life. You know, someone might ask a girl out and she might reject him and tease him and say, I wouldn't go out with you in 1,000 years. And that's something you'd laugh off back in a normal situation. But I know of children, boys and girls, who experience that kind of rejection and they plunge into deep suicidal depression, and they've got no one to explain to them
My days. That is so sad.
how they can put this into context
so sad.
in the scheme of their whole life, you know. So we, as adults, we need to sometimes come out of our head, come out of our issues and focus on the children. You know, yes, we have to work. Yes, we have all these other commitments, but children are bringing themselves up. Social media are bringing the children up.
That's right.
Adults often aren't bringing children up.
No.
You know,
No.
children can't raise children.
I know you do great work with Children of the Sun. Tell us a little about that and elaborate, because our time is going quickly.
Yeah, time.
Tell us what
that was
been,
my
tell us what you've been doing over the
concern.
summer with Children of the
Summer,
Sun.
we had a Windrush Legacy programme, and we were grateful to receive some funding from the City Council, from Creative Cities, and from Street Games, and support from Martin James Network. So we had lots of wonderful support this summer, which is nice because we're usually self-funded.
And it was a good summer, wasn't it?
It was good. We were able to bring in loads of movers and shakers from the community, rappers, historians, activists, writers, presenters. We didn't get you in, did we? We should have invited you.
You never invited me.
But I wasn't responsible for the invitations. They were sent out. We had elders and young uns.
Yes.
We had Lady Sanity.
Yeah.
Do you remember there was a play, The Black Heroes in the Hall of Fame?
That girl years ago.
Yes,
Yeah,
J.D. Douglas,
J.D. Douglas,
a hero of mine,
Yes.
still here in Birmingham. He came and facilitated a wonderful workshop
That's
with the
great.
children and spoke about the Windrush story and Milton Godfrey as
Milton
well.
Godfrey.
You know, Milton
I know
Godfrey,
Milton
performer.
Godfrey. Yeah.
So we had the elders, we had seniors such as Lady Sanity, who opened for the Commonwealth Games, and she's done lots. Rapper Lady Sanity, lovely young lady,
lovely.
and Lo Williams. So the children were able to sit and just ask them questions and share their own experiences. And it's all recorded, so when the little mini documentary we've made is edited and put together, we'll share that with you. We'll come back and let you see that.
That's great.
But there was a two-way learning that took place. And then the children took those stories and created a play. They performed it at the Midland Arts Centre, and they performed to a packed out theatre. So they were able to perform I Am Windrush, I Am Birmingham, a Windrush legacy, telling the story of us here in Birmingham and how we rock. And we always have,
How did that go?
Oh, it
Great.
was well received.
Bring the house down.
It was absolutely. We're going to do part 2 because there's more to the story, and it ended in a place where we need to expand. But children wrote poetry, they sang songs, we had performers come and join us as well to entertain.
A good question I need to ask you.
Yeah.
So you've been involved in Children of the Sound for quite a while. So, I mean, the children move on. Where are those children who's move on in your organization
They
now?
move
How are
on.
they doing?
Yeah, we've been going for 7 years.
Yeah.
So some who started quite young and now teenagers.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know, we don't really send anybody on. So
Okay.
they're still with us.
Okay.
We've got like 17 and 18-year-olds.
All
And I've
right.
brought in, they're doing their A-levels and we've brought in tutors. They still come in and do their A-levels. My daughter was supporting one young man with his sociology. Kenty was supporting some of his A-level maths. And they pass, by the way, and they get into university and the colleges they want to. But they also come back and mentor the younger ones
Fantastic.
as well.
That is so great.
Yeah,
That's
they
great.
come back and do some mentoring, and 2 of our young ladies performed drumming, came back and did some drumming at the event, opened the show and closed the show. So they're very active, but we're looking to start another organisation just for those 16 to 20-year-olds.
16 to 20-year-old.
And
16 to 21.
all right, 16 to 25. Every time so we're working on that.
Yeah.
And this is where they can now look at the next level of skills that they need beyond Children of the Sun Saturday schools, summer schemes and that,
Right.
So it's all about business and finance, personal development. Heritage as well is important for the children to
Great.
know, and all that stuff.
Tell us where you are, because our time is going.
We're out of time.
No, we're not out of time yet, but we're out of time. And you know,
All right.
you know what I'm like for time.
Yes.
I'm never out of time.
Yes, well,
Because when you're a musician, you can't be out of time, is it?
One good thing we've done over the
Yes.
summer, we started a choir, Children's Sun Youth Choir.
Oh, that's good.
And it's wonderful. They had their first performance. We were invited to sing at a Foster Talk Awards ceremony.
Yeah.
So they sang Something Inside So Strong. It's recorded.
Yes.
It was.
That's great. You know.
And,
that is a great song. You know. There's a couple of cover those songs. Have a listen to the Misha Parrish version. She had a new
love
album out.
Misha Parrish.
She has a new album out, and she does a
Okay.
cover of that. The original Labry Sifri song.
Yeah.
Have a listen to the Misha
I'll
Parrish
check it out.
version.
I
It's
didn't know.
fantastic. It is fantastic.
I didn't know that at all. So the children are building resilience in other ways. It's not always about people coming in and talking and talk. Choirs and we think about sport and other things, but children singing positive songs. I know we've got to go. The music is also killing our children. The lyrics, the music our children are listening to.
I've been saying that for ages.
It's
And
not good. It's
I've been saying
disturbing.
that. In fact, you said
It's
it.
so
In fact, you said it.
disturbing.
I've heard the Jamaican poets been talking about it. Been talking about it a couple of weeks. We've been saying this.
I don't think we really truly
We've
listen.
been saying this when we started the program.
Oh, I don't think we're
my
listening.
producer over there has been on my case all the
Oh,
time.
gosh.
We've been talking about this when we started this program. That the lyrics in the music is what's killing our children.
Yeah.
And nobody's talking it off. Nobody's talking it
It's crazy.
It is crazy.
Before we started the choir, one reason we started the choir, I said to the kids, what are the songs you're listening to? And some of them said, I can't sing it because it's too bad.
Killing our children.
Play the song. Let me hear the song what's your favourite song? Turn it off. We can't play any more of this. You're really listening to that? Does your mum know? Does your dad know you listen to this?
I know.
It's terrible.
Marcia, it's disgusting. I gotta say, you can come back and we'll show your video.
Oh.
We'll take your video and play your video. So you're welcome back. You know what I mean?
I'd love that.
Don't beg me.
I'd love that. I don't beg anybody anything.
You know I gotta do my laugh.
You were begging me. You should be begging me to come back and play the video.
I'm telling you I'm not begging you. I'm telling you to come back.
I
and
would
play the
love
video.
to. I would love to.
We're playing
I'm
the video.
looking forward to that. I
Yeah.
will come back very soon.
Yeah, you come
You're
back
gonna
very
love it.
Come back very soon. and
But
play
yeah,
the video.
I just want to say though, parents, guardians, big sisters and brothers, keep an eye on the children. It's serious. You know, we watch the news and we talk, but children are experiencing these things differently. Yeah. All right.
Right.
I can't say any more than that.
Thank you.
I have 2 books.
Anybody you want to share?
Two books.
Anybody you want to say a shout out to?
Shout out to everybody out there. That's all I can say. And to my team, Children of the Sun team. You know who you are. I don't want to take up too much time. And these 2 books, Awakening the Natural Genius in Black Children, Amos Wilson, and How to Unlock Your Child's Genius. It's not just about academics, it's about the emotional and all the other things as well. Great books to look out for. All right. If you need a hand in and some guidance.
Sister Marcia, let me say thank you.
Thank
for being on the
you.
program. I will beg you next time to come back. All you guys who's been tuned into the program wherever you are in the world, my good friends over in Canada, June, get back to the United States. Let me say thank you. And all you guys who traveled down to Jamaica for that occasion, let me say big shout out to you. Big respect to you. And we know it was a hard time. All you guys in Jamaica who had such a hard time as well, we know it was a hard time for you. Let me say, family, big shout out to you. I want to say thank you once again for tuning in to the program. As I say, thanks Sister Marcia. And I say, guys, don't forget to tune into the program, week 63. When I was actually talking, had a wonderful interview with Connie Taylor. Go and check that program out. She did wonderful considering the things that she was actually going through, you know what I mean? And she's fully clear. So we say big shout out to her. Much love to her once again.
Done.
We say massive respect to you, my sister. It's great when you hear good news. Let me say, have a great weekend. Look after yourself. My time is almost here. Producer has done a good job again. It's been marvelous. Key and spot tonight he has been. And he still keeps beating me up. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I am out. Good afternoon. Look after yourself. And there's rain coming.
Lovely. We
On
need
Your
the
Mind
rain.
is sponsored by ACMC 339 Dudley Road, New Star Radio 98.7 FM, Breakthrough Studios, and Reggae Jam Jam.
Planning an event? Do it professionally. Please contact Breakthrough Event Management Team and get everything under one roof for both indoor and outdoor occasions, birthday parties, bridal and baby showers, anniversaries, funerals, backyard BBQs and more. We offer a video and photography service, marquees, decoration and a PA system to hire, with popular New Style radio DJs spinning old and new school hits. Please contact 07584 197 380 and book all your catering needs with Reggae Jam Jam catering service on 0787
244 3765.
And remember, do it good and done.